Hello, this is Chris from the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast, back with another reaction video, and actually back with another Star Wars reaction video. I literally just got done with my Rogue One, A Star Wars Story Thanksgiving trailer reaction, and I was kind of still in the Star Wars mood and wasn't quite done talking about Star Wars, as is the usual case with me. And then I remembered that this story featurette went up about a week ago, so this is a reaction for the Rogue One, A Star Wars Story featurette. About halfway through the year, just after Star Wars Celebration, I know they brought a Comic-Con footage out, Comic-Con featurette, which was more about sort of like the making of it. There was brief interviews with the cast, crew, producers, just talking about their experiences on the set, being on location, seeing all this stuff play out in front of them and being a part of it. And I'm expecting this one to be very similar. I've heard there's some new footage in this one too, but this is more just going to be a sit down, me watching this, hearing some of the things they have to say, seeing some of the new shots and the behind the scenes stuff, because as a film fan, that's one of the things that I love too, is all the behind the scenes for films and how they make the magic that we see on the big screen ultimately a reality. So we're going to watch this featurette together now. I'm going to talk much more about it afterwards and throughout as well. I know some people don't like it when I talk during the video, but I feel it's a little bit more naturalistic to get my personal opinions during the video as I watch it, so that's what I'm just going to continue to do. So let's click play now. That music again.
If I'd known since I was 4 that I was going to be shooting a Star Wars film, I would have planned it all my life.
See, that's the thing. He's a fan. You can tell.
I grew up with. It's a whole world I've been thinking about for quite a long time.
Oh, Fat Admiral Akbar, or Mon Calamari, sorry.
Your career in the past kind of stops and just takes that in, and you remember, oh, we're actually in Star Wars.
It's like the world's greatest toy set.
Yeah, it is.
It's like being that kid again. The Star Wars figures. Stormtroopers over here, and then this happens, there's an explosion. It's been a lot of fun. It's the greatest job in the world.
Oh, I would have given anything to have been on this set.
The simplest way to explain it is that text you see at the beginning of A New Hope. That is essentially our movie.
I hope this one does have a title crawl as well. It'd feel weird if it doesn't.
But there's a way to defeat it. Jen's starting to put together a team.
She wants to fight. We all do.
How many doing it?
It is an ensemble movie, but at the heart of it is a strong woman.
The time to fight is now.
See, dialogue like that, I really hate from her. That is awful dialogue. And delivery as well. I'm really iffy on Felicity Jones so far. This guy looks amazing.
Make 10 men feel like
and I mean, Cassian Andor is such a Star Wars name.
Through their journey, we see the formation of the Rebel Alliance and the stealing of the Death Star plans.
Mon Mothma back.
To risk being left behind.
Oh my god.
That is a bad idea.
They achieve what they achieve because they achieve it together.
I love K2SO, just tells it like it is. He's a man after my own heart. Oh my god! I guess that's going to be the thumbnail of the video right there. Did you see those TIE fighters? Oh my god. Okay, wow, that's actually kind of just like stunned me to silence, just that shot there. So, okay, I knew there was going to be a space battle, and actually this is interesting how this has played out. I've done my reactions to all the other trailers that have come out. We've seen little clips of the space battle. I think it wasn't until... Was it like trailer 2? Or even it might have been trailer 3 actually, where I realised that space battles were going to be a thing in this. I just did the Thanksgiving trailer, which showed a continuation of an X-Wing doing a barrel roll, which looked amazing. And now we get like a shot of like hundreds and hundreds of TIE fighters. The only problem with this is going to be, and I always sort of bring this up, is that if you do get to a point where you watch these in sequential order, so if you go episode 1, 2, 3, you know, get the bad ones out the way first, and then this one, if you watch this one straight after Revenge of the Sith before you watch A New Hope, are the events of this movie, being a modern movie, you know, 2016, will the events feel too big so that when you get to A New Hope, and although that's a classic movie which will always stand the test of time, it will feel slightly, you know, anticlimactic following this one. If they are going to keep going and doing these prequel films or like little insert films before the main trilogy, and they're grandiose and they're huge and it's bigger action, there's more explosions, there's all of this stuff going on, there's AT-ATs in it which kind of spoils the reveal for them in Empire Strikes Back, because I always thought that that was the first time they'd ever been deployed into combat, and it was like that. It's like in Lord of the Rings where the Rohirrim see the Oliphants just charging towards them, and it's like that look of horror on their face and disbelief at what they're witnessing, this new force they've got to take on. And I always had that impression with them in Empire Strikes Back, and then on the flip side they do sort of like have a plan to take them down already with the snow speeders and the tow cables. So I guess you could argue it either way. That was just always the impression I got with them. But if you do keep trying to make it bigger and outdo the other ones, it's going to make the original trilogy feel even less special. Like, if you've got a story here that's like this huge, hard-hitting, massively action-packed film about rebel spies trying to steal the plans, and then you get to the next movie and it's like, yeah, a little farm boy who wants to destroy the Death Star. You know, it's going to feel a little bit of a come down from it. And that's my only problem with these movies. If they do keep going back and adding more to them, I think it is going to take the novelty away from the original trilogy. Don't get me wrong, that trilogy will always be there. It will always be the classic, always the go-to one, regardless of all the things that come out, whether it's the prequels or these films or Rebels or Clone Wars or whatever it is that really dilutes it down. It broadens the world out, don't get me wrong. There is some great stuff in all those shows I just mentioned and the other films, but I do think it might lessen the special quality that that original Star Wars has. But that's just me going off like a half-a-second shot of loads of TIE fighters. This is how much I can talk about Star Wars. Just in terms of the production, though, and I mentioned this in my Comic-Con one, and I'll have a link to that in the description, Gareth Edwards looks like he's just having the time of his life. And this was sort of the same thing with J.J. Abrams as well. And we are in the generation now with these movies coming out where all these movies are being directed by the fans, ultimately. J.J. Abrams was a huge Star Wars fan. He made the Star Trek films because he didn't think he'd ever get the chance to make a Star Wars one. So many years later, he gets offered that chance. And Gareth Edwards as well. And you can tell, like, as a Star Wars fan myself, like, all the things he's saying I can connect with. Like he says, when you were a kid and you've got, like, all the action figures, you're seeing them walking by on set, you're directing them, but it feels like you're like a child again, like in your own imagination, where, you know, you've got the action figures and you're making these adventures up, and he's doing it for real now. It must be an absolute dream come true for him. I'm so pleased for him as well. As I talked about before, I wasn't a huge fan of the Godzilla film he made in 2014, but what was great about that film was its sense of scale. Godzilla did feel godlike and huge and like just an absolute force of nature. And from all the battle scenes that I've seen in this, it feels exactly the same way. With the AT-ATs and the ground level shots, it's really stuff in Star Wars we haven't seen before. And although we know the outcome of this story, it's going to be just the journey up to that point. It's going to be the journey through it and seeing these things in Star Wars we haven't seen before. Yes, we've seen AT-ATs, but we haven't seen ground level combat with it and getting that sense of scale where they are looming down and shooting at troops. It's really, really exciting stuff. The actors, you could argue that with actors where they have to go to like these press junkets and interviews and things, they have set questions, they get asked the same questions hundreds and hundreds of times, they always have to up the enthusiasm, but to me anyway, and maybe this is just naive on me, they do seem like they are genuinely behind this film and they do love the franchise, they are a fan of Star Wars themselves. And it's an interesting perspective when everyone's a fan of it, everyone wants to see the film be as good as it can be, they're all passionate about it, and hopefully when we get to the final film and we all sit down in that theatre, whether it's the midnight screening or whenever you guys are planning on seeing it, drop me in the comments if you've already booked your tickets for it. We're all going to be sat down and we hopefully going to see that passion shine through in the finished film, and I'm sure it will. It looks like one of the most cinematically stunning Star Wars films we've ever had, probably since the original trilogy. Cinematography in this film's really great and the direction so far looks fantastic. I really hope that's true. The ensemble cast is interesting. I'm loving the look of some of the characters. I think they're going to be an absolute classic in the Star Wars mythology, in the Star Wars universe, and they're going to earn their place rightfully in that history. So that'll do it for my reaction on the Rogue One, a Star Wars story featurette. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of this featurette. Any of the footage that's come before that you're excited about, please do let me know. And as I said, if you've booked your tickets already, because I know they've already gone on sale, do let me know if you've got those booked. What are your plans for that day? You're going to have a Star Wars day? You're going to watch the movies beforehand? Are you going to the midnight screening? Please do let me know, because I'd love to hear what some of you other Star Wars fans out there got planned for Rogue One. So as I say, that will do it for my video right now. Please do hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to keep updated with all of our content, whether it's more reactions from me, movie reviews, Battle of the Brackets, whatever it is. We have a whole heap of shows on the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button. So that'll do it for me for this video right now, and until the next one, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.